It's the Big Ten Conference Commissioner Jim Delaney announcing yesterday on the Big Ten Network how the new Big Ten with 12 teams is going to stack up. Tim Staudt, the veteran sportscaster on radio and television, he's on 7:30 a.m. from 9 till noon. If you're in the Lansing market, you can find him online too. And of course, he's on the NBC affiliate here. And you're the first person I thought of when I heard the announcement of the breakdown, and I wanted to know what your reaction was. So so unfortunately, we're going to scoop your own show this morning because I'm dying to know, what does Tim Staudt think of the breakdown?
Well, I wasn't totally surprised, Michael. I think it played out pretty well the way everybody thought it was going to. You know, the Big Ten had an impossible time of keeping the components of this secret from everybody, because when you have all 12 schools in the know about how this is going to go, word leaked out pretty well. So it didn't surprise me a whole lot, other than the fact that I thought they were going to move the Michigan-Ohio State game into the middle of the year, because that's what they all indicated looked like it was going to happen. And at the end, I think the conference felt that it was just much better to preserve some tradition, especially with that game. So the theory still exists that those two could play back-to-back for the Big Ten title, but that could happen to other schools in the mix as well, and I think they made the right decision there.
We talked to Coach D'Antonio earlier this morning. He didn't seem very disappointed to lose the Penn State rivalry.
Well, I've said that for years. I mean, I've said that if you take any school in the Big Ten, besides Michigan State, and you have them play Penn State at the end of the year, every single year, you see how many times you're going to go to the Rose Bowl or win a Big Ten title. And I understand why George Perles put this together back in the early 1990s when Penn State came into the league. But in 17 years, Michigan State's never won there, and and very few times has won at home. Just simply because Penn State's, been a pretty good team every single year. And I maintain that the other Big Ten schools had to play that schedule, they'd have a tough time getting there too. So they get a break. Michigan State got a tremendous break by getting Penn State off the schedule and Indiana on it every year, although Nebraska's on it every year as well. So you can play with the semantics there.
Yeah.
So, you win some, you lose some, and I think the conference tried to do that with every team. Although Michigan State's schedule next year is going to be extremely difficult, no doubt about it.
Looking at the breakdown, with the possible exception of Northwestern in the Michigan State division, to me it looks clear that the Michigan State, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Northwestern division is a lot tougher.
Well, you're going year to year with this, and, who knows what Iowa's going to be like. Iowa and Wisconsin used to be the doormats of the Big Ten for years and years, and then they turned things around, and, everybody's emphasizing football in this league. I think the big difference, Michael, is not the divisions. It's the addition of Nebraska. Because, first of all, if you're in their division, you got to play them every year, and that's going to be tough. If you're not in their division, you get them 2 out of 4, and you never would have scheduled them as a non-conference game.
Yeah.
So the addition of Nebraska is going to make it much tougher for everyone to get to the Rose Bowl than what it was before. In Michigan State's case next year, you can make the argument that they could have to beat Ohio State twice, neither one at home, to get to the Rose Bowl, because they have to open with them on a road. If they win the divisional title, they might have to still play Ohio State in a championship game to go to the Rose Bowl. The Big Ten championship game, and the addition of Nebraska, gives every team 2 more chances to lose against a good team to get there. It's going to be tougher than what it already is, in my judgment.
And isn't it a little... I don't know. It seems like counterintuitive. We play Big Ten football outside for the most part. I don't think there's an indoor stadium left now in the Big Ten, and the crisp fall Saturdays and all that sort of thing. And then we're going to play this high-profile championship game in a dome.
Well, I was always for that, because it'll take the elements out of it. It'll make it an enjoyable experience for everybody attending the games in Indianapolis. That's where the Big Ten tournament is located. The NCAA is there. I just think that's a great venue to play the thing. You see indoor stadiums used in the Southeastern Conference game in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, and I just think it'll be much nicer for the patrons who go to that game for the 2 competing schools, knowing that the weather is not going to be a factor to ruin the day if the weather is inclement.
Are they going to move that championship game around? I see 2011 Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis, on December 3rd. Is that going to be a fixed position, or will it move around the Big Ten, you think?
In my judgment, the only way that game leaves Indianapolis is if the people who run Lucas Oil Stadium make it financially difficult for the Big Ten. The Big Ten is notorious for being good negotiators, and they're obvious that the 1-year contract, in my judgment, was designed to show Indianapolis, okay, we're going to give you a shot, but if you try to make it tougher for us financially, we got other places we can go to move it around. I think that's just a negotiating ploy. But in the long run, if the money's right, I think the Big Ten would like to use Lucas Oil Stadium long term if they can work the deal out.
There was a lot of buzz around town yesterday about your charity golf tournament at Forest Acres. Can you tell me how it went?
It was wonderful. It was one of the biggest, if not the biggest turnout we ever had. We had people coming in from around the state. We even had a guy from Columbus, Ohio there yesterday. He's a big Ohio State guy who came to play in. We've had more women come play than we've ever had before. I don't know how or why that happened, but we're happy to have as much different participation as we can. We had a number of former Spartans there, and you remember the 2001 Michigan football game when Jeff Smoker threw to T.J. Duckett in the end zone to end the game and win it for Michigan State in one of the more memorable games. Those two were there yesterday playing together, and it was great to reminisce with both of them about old times. So we had a lot of fun.
That's terrific, and that was to benefit Sparrow Hospital. And you've got the band concert coming up in your backyard pretty soon, right?
Yeah, that's September 12th, and then we've had a heavy run on those tickets as well, and this is our 8th annual on September 12th, and we're looking forward to that to being the biggest and the best yet, and you're in charge of making sure the weather's going to be just as good as we've had it for the first 7 years, too.
It's a very special event. Listen to Tim Staudt on 7:30 a.m. from 9 until noon for more details. Find him online as well. You can listen anywhere in the state to the great Tim Staudt at 14 before the hour.